Z Show.
I've got one current story that I've got to talk about right now. And this is about a new anti-gun organization, anti-Second Amendment organization, designed to do battle against the National Rifle Association and those of us who believe in the Second Amendment and that gun control does not solve the problem. In fact, gun control will make the problem of crime worse. This organization is being started by Gabrielle Giffords and her idiot husband, the astronut, whatever his name is, Mark Kelly. I've got this article at the Huffington Post on the 2-year anniversary of the shooting in Tucson, Arizona. Tustin, California is a short distance from where I live. On the 2-year anniversary of the shooting in Tucson, Arizona that left her critically injured and 6 of her constituents dead, former U.S. Representative Gabrielle Giffords and her husband Mark Kelly, a former astronut, have launched a national group aimed at countering the influence of the gun lobby. She says in a op-ed piece in USA Today, and I'll get the link for that as well, until now, the gun lobby's political contributions, advertising, and lobbying have dwarfed spending from anti-gun violence groups. No longer, with Americans for Responsible Solutions engaging millions of people about ways to reduce gun violence and funding political activity nationwide, legislators will no longer have reason to fear the gun lobby. Fear the gun lobby. How about this? Respect the Second Amendment. That's what this is about. It's not about fearing the NRA and its political power. This is about respecting the Constitution, and especially in this case, the Second Amendment. I have given Democrat Gabrielle Giffords a lot of respect. Ever since she was shot in the head, I marveled at her will to live. She and her husband were class acts, and they got through a terrible injury together. And she is really doing very well, considering that she was shot in the head. It's an amazing story. But I am done with Gabrielle Giffords. She is nothing but a hypocrite. She is now becoming a socialist, anti-gun, anti-Second Amendment activist, and proving herself to be, as I just said, a full-blown hypocrite. In the article at the Huffington Post, it says here that on the group's new website, supporters can read the couple's op-ed piece, contribute money, and put their names on a mailing list. The announcement comes a week after the couple visited Newtown, Connecticut, where a gunman killed 20 children and 6 adults in December. They wrote in the op-ed piece, "Our response to the Newtown massacre must consist of more than regret, sorrow, and condolence." On Tuesday night, that's tonight, Giffords and Kelly are scheduled to be interviewed by ABC's Diane Sawyer. So, of course, the national media is all too happy to help these two losers, these two hypocrites, with their new organization, Americans for Responsible Solutions. In the article here that they wrote together, in response to a horrific series of shootings that has sown terror in our communities, victimized tens of thousands of Americans, and left one of its own bleeding and near death in a Tucson parking lot, Congress has done something quite extraordinary. Nothing at all. Look, there are, by far, many more Americans who defend themselves and their families with their guns legally than people who use their guns to murder innocents. I want to point out why it is that I'm calling Gabrielle Giffords a hypocrite. Not a lot of people know this, but Gabrielle Giffords boasted of her prowess with a Glock. Assassination target Representative Gabrielle Giffords, this is an article in January of 2011. boasted in an interview last year, quote, "I have a Glock 9mm and I'm a pretty good shot." The startling comment, coming from a woman who would soon be a shooting victim of the same gun model, reveals perhaps the one thing she has in common with her attacker: gun possession in a state obsessed with Americans' right to pack a weapon. And this article is at newser.com, obviously anti-gun and coming from a liberal standpoint. But the point is that Gabrielle Giffords, at one point at least, had a Glock 9 and said she was a pretty good shot. Hypocrite. Nothing but a hypocrite. It's fine for me to have a gun, but when I change my mind when something happens that I don't like, I'm going to make sure that other Americans cannot have a gun. I've got two articles here about a story out of Loganville, Georgia, where a woman hiding with her children shot an intruder 5 times, and the man was arrested as he tried fleeing the scene. One of the articles is at MyFox8, and the other is at CBS, the CBS affiliate in Atlanta. The Fox 8 article says that a Georgia mother hid her 2 9-year-old twins and shot an intruder, Paul Ali Slater, several times during a home invasion on Friday, according to multiple media reports. And you can read both articles. I've got them both in the show notes. But the point I'm making here is that Gabrielle Giffords should meet with this mother who defended herself. Because this is what happens far more often than people are out there shooting innocent people with guns. Criminals, burglars, robbers, murderers, people who go on mass shooting sprees are a very small minority of the action that is taken by Americans with guns. By far, the vast number of times guns are used, they are used to protect people. They are used to defend life and property. We've talked about it many times. I'll put the article in the show notes again. Guns are used 80 times as often to protect people, to protect lives and property, than they are used by criminals to kill people. So I think the woman in Georgia who protected herself and her children by shooting an intruder need to sit down with Gabrielle Giffords and her husband, Mark Kelly, and explain to them that guns are used by Americans to protect themselves. I am so sick of the hypocrisy of Gabrielle Giffords. She had a gun, a Glock 9. She may still, for all I know. I'm a pretty good shot. Now she's becoming an anti-gun crusader. And I'm telling you what, for money. They're going to get paid. This may be a nonprofit organization, but I guarantee you that Gabrielle Gifford and her son, Mark, I keep forgetting his name, because I really don't like the guy, Mark Kelly, are going to be paid as officers in this group, Americans for Responsible Solutions. But Gabrielle Giffords is a hypocrite. Dianne Feinstein is a monster hypocrite. Let me get that story. I think I've been saving that for the right time to talk about it. This is Dianne Feinstein back in the year 2000 in an interview with Catherine Whitney. And she's talking about the time long ago when she was a supervisor in San Francisco before she became mayor. And I'm going to put a time frame on this. She became mayor of San Francisco in 1978. So this was back in the 1970s. This is Dianne Feinstein, in her own words, reflecting back on her history with guns. As a supervisor, I had no protection, so I got a gun permit and learned to shoot at the police academy. Then when I became mayor, I succeeded in passing a measure banning handguns in San Francisco, and we instituted a 90-day grace period for pistol owners to turn in their handguns without incurring penalties. At that time, I turned in my pistol. that pistol and 14 others were melted down and sculpted into a cross, which I presented to Pope John Paul II during a trip to Rome later that year. Okay, I don't care about her stupid sculpture that she gave to Pope John Paul II. First of all, she's Dianne Feinstein. She's Jewish. What is she doing presenting anything to Pope John Paul II? But the main point here is her outrageous hypocrisy. I had no protection, so I got a gun permit and I learned how to shoot at the police academy. So Dianne Feinstein knew that the way to protect herself was to get a gun and then go to the police academy and learn how to shoot it effectively. But then, as soon as she became mayor, she changed the law so that no other citizens could do what she did. No other citizens would be able to protect themselves by having a gun. She did. It was fine for her, but not for anyone else. That is the lowest form of hypocritical scum. And now, of course, Dianne Feinstein wants to enact radical gun control laws because she knows better than anyone else. Back in the 70s, when she needed self-protection, it was okay for her to get a gun permit and go to the police academy and learn how to use that gun to protect herself. But if she can help it, Dianne Feinstein is going to prevent the rest of the American citizenry from being able to protect themselves the same way. There is nothing I hate more in American politics than hypocrisy. We can disagree all day long. You can have a conservative viewpoint, and you can have a liberal viewpoint. You can have a libertarian viewpoint. You can have a Christian political viewpoint. You can even have a godless atheist political viewpoint. I don't care. And we can argue about which is the best way to go, which viewpoint best serves Americans. But hypocrisy, you cannot argue with hypocrisy because Dianne Feinstein and Gabrielle Giffords had guns. And they were trained in how to use a gun and how to shoot a gun. Gabrielle Giffords boasted that she was a great shot. But now, these know-it-all, hypocrite, liberal Democrat women, they know better, and so now they're going to tell the American people what kind of guns they can and cannot have. It was fine for them, but it's not fine for you. You know what? I'm not backing down. I'm not putting up with this kind of hypocrisy. I am going to spend a lot of time exposing liberal hypocrisy. And even if they weren't hypocrites, gun control solves nothing. I'll say it again. Gun control solves nothing. If you took the entirety of Dianne Feinstein's radical gun control bill and you passed it in full, it would solve nothing. There would still be, unfortunately, another terrible gun massacre. Don't screw with the Second Amendment. The American people are not going to put up with it.
The Jimmy Z Show.